Well, guys, here we are headed back to RV Lifestyles again because the saga with the heater and the propane is not over. Take a look at this. When I first got it back, I had a nice little tight blue flame and everything worked fine, and now we're back to a bright orange flame. And look at it when it's going fully in heat mode. It's not, I really don't think it's supposed to have a big flame on the top of that. This makes me really nervous. So here's what I'm doing. I'm taking my propane tank, my hose, and the heater, everything as I have it in my rig, and I'm gonna show them this video and say, this looks bad, right? And hopefully they won't say, no, that looks perfectly normal, take it home. I guess if they do, I'll do that, but I don't think they're gonna say that looks fine. They're gonna say, bring everything in and we'll take a look at it. So that's where I'm headed, and this is a good lesson for, you know, these problems on the road with various things often turn into a long-term problem that takes a lot of concentration and effort and hopefully expertise of other people to resolve. You know, this Empire heater thing was, I had my struggles with the wave heater, and this seemed to resolve my problem with the wave heater, and namely the ability to set a thermostat and to not overheat, which my Wave 6 was doing. So that it really seemed to be a great solution for me, and it probably still is. If it operates like it does for the first couple of weeks, something has happened to it, or something's happened in my environment. I don't know. At this point, I'm not willing to make any assumptions. And so until further notice, you're going to be seeing Dottie's face and not mine when we're doing these things. And I've hooked the audio up to the GoPro that's shooting Dottie, so there's not going to be any problem with the audio. So it's Thursday, and it's the 22nd of February, and we're gonna drop off the heater, explain the situation to them, show them the videos I have that I showed you of how it's operating, and hopefully they'll be able to figure out what's going on and why it worked initially and then just stopped working. But what I'm going to be amazed, here's the worst possible outcome, is that they take my my heater and they take my hose in my tank and they hook it up in their shop and it works without any problem. I'd be kind of speechless about that. I don't know why it wouldn't work, suddenly wouldn't work in my trailer, but that's the worst possible scenario that I can think of. It's like, you know, you have a problem with your car and it's really awful and you bring it into the mechanic and it won't do what it was doing. Then you leave the mechanic and it starts doing it again. That's what I think the video is going to be really important. It's like there's police lights or something up here on the right, so I'll go slow. I don't know what they're doing. They're well off the road there. Maybe it's just a traffic stop and they pulled way over, which is a great idea. It's safer for everybody. Oh, that looks like maybe an undercover state trooper in a Mustang. You don't see that very often. Look just like a to the casual observer just like a souped up Mustang. I forgot to grab it, but I'm gonna, the whole thing where I did the swap with the Blue Ox, the Blue Ox is far worse than the first Blue Ox. It's like you can barely turn it on, and I hooked it up and my stove is yellow again. I'm gonna buy a new tank, a new 20-pound tank at RV Lifestyles today, and if it's not hugely more expensive than I think the $70 on Amazon, and fill that up and just replace that Blue Ox thing and drop that Blue Ox tank right by one of those stands at Blue Ox, and they can have it back. Because that's just, in most of the tanks I saw when he pulled one off the shelf, looked as beat up as the one he was giving me. So, look, a very empty Kuhn Street in Tyson Wells. It's luxury, you can park anywhere. Lots of places aren't open. We're driving through Tyson Wash, the actual wash right here. It's a big wash. And boy, when it's rainy here, it turns into a river. A lot of people have been asking, are you going to keep doing videos when you leave Quartzsite? And the answer is yes. I don't plan on doing videos every day. I just got, I wanted to build my channel when I got here to Quartzsite. So I said, I'm going to commit to a video every single day I'm here in Quartzsite. And I kept my word, and I've done one every single day. I think maybe I missed one or two for extraordinary reasons, but it's been a video every day. Now, I don't know that I'm going to continue that when I leave Quartzsite, but I don't know that I'm not. It depends on how I feel, and to do this kind of content isn't hard. I mean, I'm just talking about what's on my mind most of the time, where when I wasn't doing a video every day, it would be more event-oriented videos, like I'd interview somebody or do a tour of something. I think you're going to see more of that when I leave Quartzsite. I did a lot of that at the beginning in Quartzsite, but I kind of ran out of places to go that were interesting, and I got kind of bored with it. But I'll certainly do I'll do a fresh video on Pahrump, the city, and I'll do a fresh video on Preferred RV Resort, where I stay every year. And I'll probably do at least one Death Valley National Park. I was saying I'll probably do at least one Death Valley National Park, if not two, when I'm there. I like going there, and maybe some interesting things around in the desert area, and maybe some businesses in Pahrump. Maybe I'll give Pahrump kind of the Quartzsite treatment, and maybe I'll have something where I go into Las Vegas and do something. I don't know. But again, if I do a video every day, a lot of them will be like this, just me going on errands, me walking with Dottie and talking about what's on my mind. There's a small number of people out there that seem to enjoy that. So we're coming up to RV Lifestyles here, and I think their service has a back entrance. I'm going to drive back there and see if I can park there and just walk in the back and talk to them. Okay, it says employees only, no one permitted in the work area, so they do not want people to. So, guys, it's my worst fear came true. They hooked it up. It was a nice, tight blue flame. Everything worked perfectly. So then they had me bring in my propane tank that I was using, and they hooked it up, and it worked perfectly as well. Thank God I had those videos, and they figured something's very wrong here. And so they're going to run it in their shop for an hour on my tank and see what happens over time. But if nothing happens, they're at a loss too. It would have been they would have thought there was something wrong with me if I didn't have that video that I showed you. And they looked at that video and they said, that is absolutely should not happen. That is wrong. I described my environment where I have it installed, exactly where everything is, and they didn't see any problem with any of that. So it's a little bit of a mystery. I did buy another propane tank from them because the second one that I got on the Blue Ox Exchange was just a piece of crap. I could barely get the valve open. So I'm getting rid of that. I'm just going to drop that off at a Blue Ox place and they can just have it back. And I'll never deal with them again. So I got a new tank. I'm going to replace that Blue Ox thing. Just their tanks are just so old and beat up. But anyway, they're going to call me, they're going to let it run for an hour or two, and then they'll call me with what they find out. But it's exactly like that that thing where, the old story where you have something horrible, your car makes a horrible sound, and you bring it into the mechanic and the sound goes away when it's in front of the mechanic. And that's exactly what this was. If they don't find, if they can't reproduce it and don't find a problem, and I bring it home and it does it again, I don't know what I'm going to do. And I don't blame them. They're desperately trying to find the problem. Right, Dottie? They're really trying to find the problem, and they just can't. I'm a little hungry. It's 10:20. And I'm not sure where to go. I'll have to use my app for McDonald's, because if you don't use your app, you end up paying ungodly rates for even just a McMuffin. So I will probably pull in there and take my phone down here and order some breakfast and think of what else I might want to do in town while I'm waiting for them to call me. Well, guys, here's the story. They called back and they said, we're really sorry, but it's absolutely working perfectly. And okay, it was my worst nightmare. So I went back and I picked everything up and I went back home. I mentioned I bought a new tank, so I used that fresh tank with fresh propane from them, and I hooked it up in my trailer in tight blue flame. Perfect. I tried it multiple times during the afternoon just to see if it would still work, and it did. And then when it got cold last night, I turned it on, bright orange flame. Same thing. And this is a classic RV problem example where you have to turn into friggin' Sherlock Holmes to figure it out. I had a theory about, well, the kitty litter is underneath where the heater is, sort of like under a shelf or a little table, and maybe the ammonia fumes are getting up into there. And as I think about that now, that was friggin' ridiculous. It's always been there. And maybe I just didn't clean it soon enough, and the ammonia built up, and it was a ridiculous idea. But then a thought occurred to me. You might have heard me talk about the nosebleeds I've been having. That was a mystery in itself, as much as the propane. I kept having these nosebleeds, so I was trying all sorts of things. And the last thing I tried when we went on that trip to Phoenix, I bought a little humidifier, little one. So because I've been waking up with nosebleeds in the middle of the night, I used the humidifier, and that seems to have done the trick. Then it dawned on me, maybe the propane pilot light, the combustion, doesn't like the humidifier. I thought, okay, it sounds like a long shot. I'll wait till morning. So morning came, I did a couple of Google searches, and there were a couple of things out there about how a humidifier could interfere with propane combustion, but it was fairly vague. So, I got up first thing, turned on the heater, bright orange flame. I turned off the humidifier, and then opened a window and turned on my exhaust fan. And the orange flame started getting overtaken by the blue gradually, and then we had a blue flame. Take a look at this. Look, a blue flame. When I spent quite a bit of time with the guys at RV Lifestyles, and they kept asking about environment. And he said, the only thing it can be is a difference in the environment. And we went over everything, and the humidifier really never occurred to me. But it's working just fine. Mystery solved after, I went and spent $60 to make a whole new hose and regulator. But I guess that'll last a long time. And foolishly, I threw away the old one thinking, well, this has got to be the problem. Anyway, welcome to my world. And there was some frustration in this. You could probably hear it in my voice when I was on my way in the beginning of the video, but just a little bit of frustration. It's mostly pretty interesting stuff. And it's funny that I think this is the third time I've decided, I've got it, I have the solution. And this one looks pretty solid, but time will tell. And oddly enough, the evenings are getting warmer and warmer, so I need this heater less and less. And I probably really won't need it again until next fall when I come back here, because I'll in most places I'm going to be between now and then that might require heat. I'm going to be hooked up to electricity, so I'll use my electric heater. But it is not that guy's fault. It's not the fault of the Empire heater. it's certainly not the fault of RV lifestyles. Those poor guys. And I swear, if I hadn't had the video of it going crazy, they would have thought I was crazy. And I would have thought so too. But they kept showing each other the videos going, look at this, look at this. They just couldn't figure it out. But I'll give it a couple of days. And if it's solid for a few days, I'll drop by there and let those guys know. I don't want to do it too soon in case this explanation falls apart, but I really don't think so. It cleared up. I actually, when I opened the window and I turned on the vent, I sat and I watched that yellow flame get smaller and smaller and the blue part get bigger and bigger right in front of my eyes. And it's not just the ventilation, because as you saw it now, all the windows are closed. Everything's fine. And don't worry, it's a ventless propane heater, so it doesn't require you to vent. So anyway, that's the crazy video for today. I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe someone might benefit from this, but it's such an odd set of circumstances. Who knows? Anyway, I want to thank you again for taking your valuable time in watching my video. I really appreciate it. Take care.